All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last day of the month of June 2025. So we're ending Q2 here in a fantastic place, I believe, altogether. And then we're going to be rolling into Q3. So I'm excited about that. I hope that you all are as well. So here's what we're doing tonight. We do have a number of questions that you all ask. We're going to make sure that we make full use of our time together. We're allotted for 90 minutes. We might not use all 90 minutes. I do want to go ahead and let you all know that I do not allow note takers into the chat, right? Or into the room, the AI note takers. And here's why. Because I want to make sure that I am in control of who has what access. And so you all are getting the playback. You all will receive the playback of the time that we have here together. And also, I don't want anyone, sometimes AI isn't always generating things exactly as they're being said or questions as they're asked. So that's why we don't allow note takers in here. Because remember, safe space, dumb questions, fantastic place. And I'm always trying to protect the integrity of those who have trusted me with their time and their attention. So I probably received about 15 to 16 questions over the past week. Some of them were from last session, so I'm going to touch on those quickly. But then there were probably of the 15 to 16, they were really about on the same two or three topics as a whole. One was just in marketing, and then it was in sales. How do we actually get to the sales piece? So that's what we're going to spend time on, because I know that while I might want to share something with you all, it might not be beneficial to everyone here. So the first thing that I was asked, the question was, could I explain the idea of client retention, lead generation, lead conversion, and then client ascension again? So quickly, as we start, client retention is cheaper to keep the clients that we already have than it is to find new ones or to find new customers. So do a great job keeping the people that you already have in your CRM. And if you're not using a CRM, client relationship manager, customer relationship manager, I'm going to encourage you, leverage a CRM. I don't care which one you all use. We just have to make sure that we're using it. So we want to make sure that we are keeping the people that we've already done business with or those relationships that we already have. Other than that, if you do not have enough leads to sustain your business, you must only focus on lead generation. Focus on getting a quantity of leads first. Then we'll work on the quality of leads, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then lead conversion. This is where your scripts, your tracking, and your follow up come into play. We must know what to say. We must know how many leads we are converting. And then we want to follow up. The money, the fortune is in the follow up. And then client ascension, that's where they might be a move up or repeat buyer, or they might refer us more business. So that's the 4 elite achiever moves. I just want to remind us of those. And then the next question that was asked, and I want to reiterate this to us: become famous for a few thousand, right? If we can become famous for a few thousand, like I said, 2,000, 2,500, that's enough for us to sustain our business. And this is where we use, ladies and gentlemen, that 7-11-4. That 7-11-4 formula, 7 hours of content. So you can either document or create, right? I just have my phone with me. I have GoPros with me. My wife, she's documenting stuff. So 7 hours of content, binge-worthy content. It does not have to be all video, doesn't have to be audio. It could be type form, could be in blog posts, but we need to have 7 hours of content for people to connect with us. 11 interactions. So we want to be seen and connect at least 11 times in 11 different touch points. And then those 4 locations. So this could be face to face, social media such as Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, articles, YouTube. So 7 hours of content, 11 interactions, 4 different locations or places, because that's where we're going to talk about the question that I believe I received from 11 people. How do I increase my sales, right? Because if we're building this thing, if we build something that's worth having, we should be able to sell it if we do things the right way. So we're going to look a lot at sales. The next thing that was asked of me was about the pillars of your pillars of success, those non-negotiables. Remember, I talked about, for me, and hopefully you all have gone back and watched the playback if you weren't with us or you were taking notes. Have you worked on your pillars of success? What those 3 to 5 things are? For me, it was excellence, service, leadership, growth. Everything that I do is filtered through those 4 pillars. So, and those are my 4 core values. And that's going to make our business better. And that's how we're going to really dictate our client customer interaction. That's going to dictate the classes that we take, the education that we get, who we're aligned with when it comes to our affiliates or our support team. So whoever your elite clients are, we want to make sure they know what your pillars of success are. So that was a question from last week about the pillars of success. I can't tell you what yours are, but we do have a way that we can walk through and figure those out. So the pillars of success, then we talked about those 4 elite achiever moves: client retention, lead generation, lead conversion, and then client ascension, and then become famous for a few. The 7-11-4, 7 hours, 11 interactions, and 4 locations. The last thing that was asked was the 6th step. What were the 6 steps for the process of elite achievers or great realtors? It's like, trust, know, hire, pay, refer. Get them to like us, get them to trust us quickly. Then they will want to know more about us so they can hire us, pay us, and refer us. So like, trust, know, hire, pay, refer. And we're not only talking in real estate with our customers, clients. This is also how we build our referral network, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, those out of area, out of country agents: like, trust, know, hire, pay, refer. Okay, so hire means they're going to be willing to give us the referral. So that's the recap from the questions that we had. Dino, all of your questions that you have for me, the last question that you asked me, the answer is going to be yes, I would be honored to. And you and I, we're going to connect outside of here. Okay, and so that was some very specific questions that you asked me, sir. And so we're going to walk through that one-on-one. And we're also going to do the investment analysis. So that's going to be different. I wanted to make sure that we did this first, and then you and I, along with others, I am going to send one more follow-up email after we're done today to let you all know some opportunities based off some questions that you all asked. The next thing that was asked of us here, or of me: could I go into marketing and sales? Because I believe that you all feel that you have a grasp of what we covered in CIPS. But the question was, how do we turn this thing, all of this information, into a business model? And then, even as I shared my sales predictability triangle, some of you were asking, okay, well, what about the sales and marketing piece of it? If I'm selling myself on the buyer side, seller side, or even co-op agent side. So that's what tonight is going to be. I do have a quick poll that I want to share with you all, because this is going to help me gauge where we are. So there are a couple of polls, or a couple of questions. I think there are 5 questions here. So if you would go in and answer those 5 questions there, because that's going to help me really determine how we cover the sales and marketing aspect of this. And I would tell you all why the answers or the responses to this poll matter so much. And part of it is going to be one of the very last things I told you all on the final day of our class, like on that Friday. And it really goes back into implementation, right? So I'm seeing some yeses, okay, and I'm seeing some no's. I'm seeing one engagement answer. Okay, now here's what I'm going to tell you all. As with everything, we only get out what we put in. Okay, and so this is why I want to see the quiz and want to see the results, because we're going to have to answer some questions of ourselves. And as we go forward, we only get the return based on the investment that we make. So when I see, for instance, if you have not nominated yourself on Canvas Rebel, guess what I need you to do? I need you to go to Canvas Rebel and nominate yourself. And here's why that one is so important, right? The reason that one is so important is because everything that we look at is going to require us to step out on just the other side of our comfort zone, right? What I'm going to share with you, I'm going to dare say something with what I'm going to share with you. If you have not nominated yourself on Canvas Rebel, it's going to be harder, not impossible, but it's going to be harder for you to do anything else that I share today, right? It's going to be harder for you to do other things from the CIPS coursework. And the reason being is because nominating yourself physically, it's an easy task, but psychologically, it might be challenging, right? You might say to yourself, I don't think that I am ready. Why would I do it? Is it really necessary? But I'm going to give you all an opportunity, and I'll just tell you all up front. I don't know if you all, let me go ahead and stop this. I don't know if you all saw the resources that I put, the link for the Google Drive. There were a lot of resources in there, but one of them was this right here. And that is my coaching and consulting fee schedule. I don't know if you all saw that. I have put that in there in the supplemental side. So next to the sales and marketing piece, people ask me, Neal, can we get more of your time? Do you offer real estate coaching? We don't see that on the list. We see your $40,000 6-month executive coaching and $95,000 annual executive coaching. And my response is, I don't do real estate coaching because it's not profitable for me, right? And so that's the way I responded to about, I would say, 8 of you. And some of you are on here now. And you were like, Neal, right? Come on, like you're supposed to give back to us. And so the reason I typically don't do real estate coaching is because the return for you all is not as good. But here's why. Because I have a 7X guarantee, right? Anytime someone hires me for $40,000 for 6 months, my belief is if you follow the system, you're going to make $280,000 in 6 months, and it's proven, right? So this isn't like a number out of the sky. When we go 95,000, you're going to make almost $700,000 in a year, right? This is what I do, and so the reason I asked those questions, and I told you all that I would let you know why I asked the poll up front, because if you haven't done the Canvas Rebel, can I expect you to follow my guidance when it comes to coaching? Probably not, right? If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you haven't done these other things, because remember, some of us, we were like, hey, what about the premium positioning challenge? What about this? I don't want to take people's money and then them fail, because then my reputation is on the line. So there were some asking, Neal, can we get into coaching? I mean, I created a coaching program for you all as NABOR CIPS, but there are requirements. One, you have to have nominated yourself for Canvas Rebel, right? That's a prerequisite. The next thing is you have to have at least subscribed to the YouTube channel and completed the Elite Client Attractor. Why? Because I know that if you haven't done something, you're probably going to do nothing when I'm asking you as your coach to take that hard, challenging step. So that's the reasoning behind it. And so that's what I'll tell you all what that's going to look like. But then it is going to require more, because I don't need coaching clients right now for real estate, just so we're clear. That's why I wanted to give the 2 times where I'm giving you all enough so that after today, you will have enough, I believe, for 6 months worth of activities if you've done that elite client attractor, because then you're going to start building your business. You're going to have to know who your elite client is, but we'll talk about that at the end of our time together. And what I was talking about on the last Friday that we were together, do you all recall me saying, choose one thing to do in the next 24 to 48 hours? Because if you don't implement one thing, the chances are is 87 to 80, is between 87 and 93% likelihood that if you don't do one thing in 24 to 48 hours, you're going to do nothing. And then you will have received your designation, but you won't be making a profit. You won't be building business. And my goal is not for you to be a designee. My goal is for you to be a successful business owner that when you look back, you can be proud of this thing that you built. So we are going to pause that conversation and we are going to move over. And I am going to encourage you all, please complete that survey or that poll just so that I can know who is in the room, who's talking, who I'm talking to. So I'm going to leave that open for a few more minutes before I close it. But the question was, how do I grow my sales business? And I do want to encourage you all, remember, there is no formal Q&A. So if you have a question, you can just text me to my phone. Just text my phone. I do believe that it's somewhere. I'll probably get it during the break. But text me to my phone and I will address those questions here in a moment. But here we go. Here's what I want to tell you all. In this thing that we call business in real estate, we're going to look at some hard truths, some hard facts. And I'm going to give you all the very first one that I wrote down here as we look at our time together. And I want you all to see if you agree with that. Nobody needs your service. Would you all agree or disagree? Like nobody needs the service that we provide, right? I believe that is a truth. I agree with that. And it's not just because I'm saying it, because there are options that buyers, sellers, or other agents have that don't involve us. The biggest challenge that we're fighting against is the status quo. And that means we are not fighting against a buyer or seller choosing us or another agent. Let's get very clear. We are not fighting between do they hire us or do they hire someone else. The biggest challenge that we have to get them to overcome is, do I do something or do I do what? Nothing. The easy thing is doing nothing. How do I know it? Because we're guilty of it based on our poll results, right? I can do nothing and say I desire a change. I can say that I want to move, that I want to make money, that I want to sell. But if I don't do anything, well, how bad could it be? I'm still right here in the same situation. So the first thing I want you all to get very clear on as we talk about sales and marketing tonight, no one needs the service that we offer. They can do this thing without us. The next thing I want us to be painfully aware of is that no one is happy to call a real estate agent, right? No one is like, hey, yes, I get to speak to a real estate agent today. Here's what happens. They're afraid, they're nervous, they're eager to get going, anxious about moving, stressed about money. And so here's how they see us as real estate agents. We are a speed bump on the way to their better future, right? We are just a necessary evil sometimes because now we're not even all that necessary, okay? So the question is, when they see us, are we positioning ourselves to become the obvious choice for them? So here's what we see, right? We talked about the number of people who refer or find agents through referral. It's almost 47% by word of mouth referral. 80% of buyers, how do they select the agent that they work with? The first person to answer their call or the first person to call them back. Okay, so now knowing that, and I'm not telling you all to be a slave to your phone. I'm telling you all just to be aware of what the stats from all of the research shows. So now we're going to look at, next to communication, we're going to look at this thing called sales and why it is the most important skill for us as business owners. And so this is what I want to say to us. Our service, our product that we offer does not make the difference. Okay, so it doesn't matter how good your service is. Me, my brokerage, my teaching style, it makes a little bit of the difference, but it only accounts for about 10% of why people work with me. Okay, it only accounts for about 10% of why your buyers, sellers, other agents, investors, landlords, or tenants are going to work with you. 10%. The product does not make the difference. So here's three big mistakes that we make in our sales and marketing, and I'm going to share them with you. And then I want us to do something about that the right way so that we can take some of the things we learned last week that we learned during the CIPS coursework. Maybe you're watching YouTube videos or not even my stuff. Just go in and find some training, but then I want you all to look at it through different lenses. So mistake number one, don't fall in love with your product or service. That's the mistake that we make. We think that our product, our service is that good, right? I would tell y'all what makes me a great instructor. It's not that I fall in love with my product or my service or my teaching style. It's that I fall in love with my clients, right? So I fall in love with the class. And so now I'm looking at everything through your lens. I'm saying, how can I make this experience better for them? Okay. So don't fall in love with your product. Don't fall in love with your service. Fall in love with your client. That's what I'm going to lead with. That's mistake number one. We fall in love with our product and not with our client. The next one is going to be, don't fall in love with your message. Fall in love with your sales and marketing. Don't fall in love with your message. Fall in love with your sales and marketing. And what I mean by that is, I mentioned 10% of our success is dependent upon our service. Guess what everyone in here sells? We sell real estate, right? We all have the same product. We have the MLS. We might have some few off market listing, but we sell the same product. We offer the same service. Would you all agree? We're real estate professionals, consultants, concierge, whatever you want to call it, but the service is the same. So if we can't count on that 10% to make us a living or a fortune, the question is, well, what's the difference? The 90% of your success in sales is going to be determined by your sales and marketing. So don't fall in love with your message. Yes, I help buyers. Like I even say, what do? I professionally market homes to the world and get them sold. That's my slogan, but I'm not in love with that. I'm in love with my sales and marketing process. So I need you all first to ask this question. Do you have a sales and marketing process? Some of us are in the business of sales, but we don't have a process. And we've talked about this before. What does that process look like from the time that they reach out to you? Do you have an automated response? Are you using chatbots? Ooh, let me pause right here and ask you all. Are you all aware of the condo changes that are taking effect tomorrow? Yes? Okay. Make sure that if you are not, Form Simplicity, the forms are going to be updated tomorrow. They already have a lot of information on Florida Realtor site about the condo rescission period, as well as some other changes. If you have a condo listing, hear me quickly. If you have a condo listing tomorrow, hopefully you've already had that conversation with your sellers, right? If you have not had the conversation with your sellers, let them know. Rescission period is going from 3 days to 7 days. They must be made aware. Okay. So if you haven't had that conversation tomorrow, say, hey, just to let you know, being proactive, any offers that we get now, the rescission period based on this new rule change, we're going to have a new addendum. If you had a condo that went under contract previously and fell through, please make sure you speak to your current seller and let them know of the change, right? So just wanted to make sure that we're aware of that. We don't want to wait until we get under contract and now they see condo rescission period 7 days as opposed to 3 days and then say, well, why didn't you let us know? So very, very important. Every condo that you have that's going to be available tomorrow, we have to inform our sellers. And so the reason I got there was talking about your sales and marketing process. Do you have a process that you go through? Or are you just out here saying, hey, I'm a salesperson, sales professional without a process? And the reason I'm asking this question is because the sales and marketing is going to account for 90% of the reason why people hire you, right? And here's what I want to remind you all. What do people think of as being professional or being competent? The whole thing is repetition. How much of your sales and marketing focuses on repetitive messaging. Repetitive messaging. And this is why that 7-11-4 comes in. We want to have a repetitive, concise sales and marketing messaging. 7 hours of talking about the same thing in essence, right? 11 interactions where people have a pretty good idea of who you are, what you stand for, and the promise that you're going to deliver. If you can't be repetitive, that's why the same Coca-Cola commercial comes on at Christmas time when you have the bear sliding down and drinking the Coke. Or we see the Mercedes-Benz commercial and Santa has the red car, right? We see the same thing. Why? Because it takes time, repetitive. 90% of our success is going to be based on sales and marketing, and it's going to have to be impactful, repetitive marketing. And so when I talk about that piece, here's the success reality. The success reality is every business strategy that we have is a sales and marketing strategy. Every one of them, whether it's going to be the way you make phone calls, how you show property, that is not a sales, post-sale, buyer strategy, seller strategy. It is a marketing and sales strategy. That's what I want you all to think of as we go through our time here. And then finally, here's what I need you all, the most important. It's third, but I believe it's the most important one and one that many of us don't get right. Because once again, I believe that after some CIPS training, after doing some maybe real estate negotiation training, now we're going to look at this sales and marketing. You're going to have the elite client attractor course. Then you go in and watch some YouTube videos. Number 3 is the most important. Sell the transformation, not the features and benefits. Sell the transformation, not the features and benefit. What is going to be the transformation that I can expect when I hire you, right? What do we talk about? We talk about the showing process, or this is what it's going to be like to put the property on the market, or the inspection period. That's all part of the features and benefits. We're going to give them the information on how frequently they can expect to hear from us, what the sale or listing process or the buying process, that's a feature and benefit. How it's going to be stress-free, and I'm going to do all this work. No one cares, because remember, they don't need our service. What do they want though? They want the transformation that's going to come as a result of working with you. Now, unfortunately, we never think about the transformation, right? I told you all from day one, hey, here's my goal. My goal is to help you all make money. The transformation is, yes, we're going to, like the process, the features, the benefits, we've got to take 5 classes, some elective classes, all that, yay. NAR says that we want to be compliant. The association says this. I want you all to make money so you can live the life, build this thing. Focus on the transformation, not on the process. So I'm going to ask you, how much time, energy, and effort have you put into the transformation that's going to happen for a buyer when they hire you? What about a seller when they hire you? What's going to be the transformation that a co-op agent when they work with you, or a referral agent? There has to be the answer. What is that transformation? And then we start asking the question, how much is that transformation worth? This is where we start being able to defend our compensation. Right now, we focus on the features, benefits, process, and for the most part, all of us have the same features, benefits, and processes, right? The difference is I'm speaking in terms of transformation. Many of you might be speaking, well, we're going to have to sign a buyer broker agreement or listing agreement. That's a technicality, right? Yes, I'll mention it because legally we have to, but I'm not starting with that. So going forward, I want you all to consider starting with the transformation. And we'll talk about what that looks like here in a moment with these 5 steps to really selling, like 5 key steps in selling. Number 1, see everyone as unique. right? And we talk about this, right? I know that we have our scripts and dialogues and we have a pretty good toolbox of things. But number one, see everyone as unique. Every one of your buyers, sellers, co-op agents, tenants, landlords, see them all as unique. And so I'm getting this from one of my mentors who sells almost they sell almost $1 billion in real estate a year. And if you all do research, it's going to be really easy to find out who he is. He sells almost $1 billion in real estate a year as a single agent. I want you all to understand what that is, right? So, number one, see everyone as unique. Everyone wants something different from or wants a different transformation, right? Some want to move on into retirement. Some want a trophy property. Others just want peace. Can you figure out what that transformation is that they desire and not make any assumptions? That's the beauty of our time together. In global real estate, what? We don't make assumptions, right? So we're going to treat everyone or see everyone as unique. Number two, we know this because we talked about it in class. Ask questions. Questions are the answer, right? If you want to know why you don't have or why you aren't selling, like the question is the answer, right? What are the caliber of your questions? And so when I ask questions leading up on the poll, I'm leading out by example. I ask questions in the poll. Therefore, that's going to help me understand you better. Then I'm going to be able to tailor my transformation that I'm going to communicate to each of you individually based on what I believe your answer is. Okay. So don't work on a sales pitch. I want to, because remember, we talked about perfecting your pitch and all of this. We'll talk about that. That's not the sales pitch. That's in who you are, what you stand for, those core values. Okay. So stop working on your sales pitch. Work on your questions. I believe that every sales professional, regardless of the industry, regardless of the niche they're in, should have 10 great discovery questions. If you don't have 10 great, like phenomenal discovery questions, we have to start there, right? And because this is where selling is not telling, selling is asking, asking, asking. So one of the best sales questions, discovery questions is going to be, what does that mean for you? Or what would that mean to you? Right? So as you're going through, hopefully one of your 10 great discovery questions is going to be, well, what does that mean to you? Or why is that important to you? Well, why is that important if that happens? What would it look like? Like something around that. If you have 10 great discovery questions, your income, the number of transactions that you do, the number of your sales volume, the caliber of the clients that you work with. And I'm telling you all from firsthand experience. When my questions got better, my presentations got better. Why? Because I was able to present and show the transformation that they told me that they wanted by asking great questions. So ask, don't tell, don't work on your sales pitch, work on your questions. And then, so really focus on 10. What are your top 10 discovery questions? Number three, watch and listen. So we talk about active listening, and we did a little bit about nonverbal communication, but watch and listen. This is why I encourage us to do as much face to face as we can. I encourage you to leverage video, leverage technology. So face to face doesn't have to be physically. Face to face could be what we're doing right here. Now, we would love to be pressing the flesh. We would love to be with them face to face in close proximity. But if that's not possible, we really want to watch and listen. Here's what one of my coaches told me almost 20 years ago when I started. He said, if you will listen and pay attention, people will tell you everything you need to know. If you will listen and pay attention, people will tell you everything that you need to know. This goes back to us pausing and then listening to what they have to say and watching for those non-spoken, nonverbal cues. Now, watch and listen. So right now, we have see everyone as unique, ask questions, and then watch and listen. Number four, yeah, that one. I couldn't get my hands right. Number four is going to be the hardest one for us. Restrain yourself. Restrain yourself. Ask them to buy, and then what do? We shut up. ask them to buy, and then shut up. So this is where my mentor says, don't buy it back. Right? So that means, have you all ever been in a situation where you were with a salesperson, they had made their pitch, and you were ready to buy, and they kept talking and talked themselves out of a sale? Where you're like, oh, you're too desperate. You are right, really pushing this thing. I no longer want it. So we want to restrain ourselves, ask them to buy, and then be quiet. And I know that's hard for us to do. So that's number four. And then the last one in these 5 steps is going to be serve, don't sell. Serve, don't sell. And this is what we're doing tonight, right? So I want to help beyond what I get paid for. If you all will serve and not sell, if you will find a way to help beyond what you get paid for, you're going to find that you're paid well beyond what you do. Okay, and that's just the law of the harvest, the law of karma, the universe, whatever it is, right? So I just believe, and it, like, I haven't experienced the contrary yet. So that's why I continue to serve, because I want to help beyond what I'm paid for. And I know that great things are going to come as a result of it. So really quickly, I am going to pause right here because I left my phone in the other room. I'm going to go get my phone. If you all have any questions that you're okay with anyone reading, you could drop those in the chat. Otherwise, just give me one moment. Let me go grab my phone, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I do have a question here, and I will not read the name, but the question here is, okay, so how do we sell the transformation if we aren't selling the features and benefits? Well, the whole way we're going to go about the transformation is we have to think about the pain point of our customer or client. Once again, it might be where they are asking or they're thinking, do I have, because we're thinking about what value, is there any has the property appreciated, is there equity in the home, how much can they afford? That's just a means to the end. The transformation is the easy thing for me to ask myself is, what does the next chapter look like for them? And whatever that next chapter of their life looks like, that's what I'm selling. I want you all to think about the best picture that they can have of their future. Even if they're going through a challenging, tough time, what is the picture that you're going to paint? That's the transformation. Okay, it can be for investment, it can be a buyer, right? What does your life look like now when you have your own place, when you are no longer under the thumb of a landlord, right? So we want to sell that transformation. And you all can ask me later if you all have questions about that part. Well, if you have questions, further questions about selling the transformation, don't hesitate to send me an email, and then we will go through that one on one. So I'm looking here. Let me go down, and I am looking. So 5 out of 5 said that they have not nominated themselves on Canvas Rebel. I need you to nominate yourself. You're going to be better for it. Okay. Have completed the Elite Client Attractor course. Good. Let me see here. Okay. So we're solid. Let me look at some of the details really quickly. And I want you all thinking, if you have questions, you can text or you can ask me. Okay, so here's what I want to remind you all of. So one, I'm looking at some of the successes that we've had, right? What success have you had in this thing? Getting calls from different international lenders because some of the social media, networking attempts, hanging out in their favorite places where I want to farm, starting to ask them but that, and so they're starting to realize when you aren't there. And this goes back to that familiarity, right? People want to see you when they see you in a place that does matter. That's how, if we're going to play that long game, remember. Unfortunately, we talked about 18 months, and I know that scares the poop out of some of us, right? But these little seeds we start planting little by little by little. And then let me just take a look at one more. Um, okay, so promote yourself. And so I do want to say it does not have to only be Canvas Rebel. When you nominate yourself, find different venues, find different media outlets to nominate yourself. Try to put yourself, your face in front of different companies, different opportunities. I believe that's going to be valuable to us. So now, any questions, comments, concerns besides what I have coming in? Okay, great question here. And this is about AI. Really quick, we're going to touch on AI. I'm going to give my 2 cents. You can put it in your pocket or in the trash. Okay. What's your opinion on cloning yourself with your voice with AI to do more or put more videos on social media? Right there. I Are there ways to do it? Yes, there are ways to do it now relatively cheap, and some of them are even free. Myself, I don't believe I'm not gonna say I don't believe. I don't ascribe to it because I believe in authenticity. So I am at the point where some of my coaching clients, they do it, they are getting good results. But that is within, that does not violate their core habits, remember? So for me, excellence, service, leadership, growth. For me, that is outside of my excellence, even though it could res, res, result in more business, more opportunities, more eyes. For me, further down in my list of 13 core values, authenticity is one of mine, right? So I don't have an AI clone. I was approached by Synthesia. I don't know if y'all heard of them when they got started, to be one of their brand ambassadors because of the amount of content that we're putting out. So I would rather do live, long form videos, chop it up into shorts. That's just what I'm doing. Now, there are ways that you could go and do the voiceovers, all of that. If it works, if it meets or falls within your core values, if it does not violate your pillars of success, if you want to give it a shot, why not? It's not illegal, it's not immoral, it's not unethical, right? It could be an advantage that you might have over me. Okay. And so this is where you have to make those business decisions. So that's a great one. So the answer is, um, so what's your opinion? Like in Portugal, an AI real estate agent has sold more than 100 million in properties from beginning to end of the process. I'm glad you asked. Florida Realtors, I was just at Rock the Market in Palm Beach, but Florida Realtors, if you're using any type of chat bot or any type of AI in your business, you must use a disclaimer. There must be verbal or written disclaimer somewhere in the process at the start of the process that lets them know that it is AI generated or AI led. Okay, so the thing is just about disclosures and information and letting people know, yes, you can do it. It's not illegal as long as the right disclosures are made and people know what they're getting or whom they're dealing with, right? So that's where we, especially in a heavy regulated industry like real estate, because we see others doing it for fun, we're doing this for trade, for commerce, right? So, things outside of the country, they might not be as regulated even in real estate. So it is. So I have a very good friend of mine. She 100% believes in clone, video clone, like an avatar clone and voice clone. She does all of her coaching videos, all of her real estate Q&As for the FAQs, I mean, is her clone sitting answering questions for Q&A, right? For the frequently asked questions. And she believes in it, but she does have a disclaimer on every one of her pages that says that this is in essence a chat bot or an AI that's giving the responses and the answers. It is legal. Most important though is going to be the disclosure. And then anything like that, if you are not the broker, ask your broker about E&O insurance and what the coverage is or the liability. Okay, anytime we are using artificial intelligence to be the forward facing, the customer facing or client facing part of our business, we must ask our broker, do you have a policy about this or not? There are a lot of innovative brokerages. They're getting agents coming to them because for that simple fact that they have thought about this on the front end, while others might be more of a traditional style and they haven't thought about it, don't have errors and omissions in place. So that's what I'm going to answer on that one. Okay, so we're good there. If you have any other questions, make sure you drop those in the chat or shoot me a text. Now, here's where I want to quickly go. I talked about the real estate broker being a speed bump to a better future, whatever that future is. Here's what I want you to know, because we're talking about, and for those of you who have done the Elite Client Attractor, this is going to resonate with you a little bit more because we're talking about the sales and marketing process or system to our elite clients, to those people that we want to work with, that we are no longer looking for, but now they are looking for us. And here's what I want us to think about: these cycles, this system, this sales and marketing. Every very good customer gets you another one, right? Every good customer, right, is going to get you to a transaction. They might get you a check. But every very good customer is going to result in you getting another customer. This is where we go that client ascension part. Our goal is to only work with very good customers or clients. Now, that might be a far stretch. I know some of us are like, man, I will work with a customer, a client. That means they signed something or they're ready to buy or sell something, right? And here's the next big key. So every very good customer is going to get us another one. But here's a hard truth that I want you all to understand. Dead-end customers aren't worth the trouble. Whatever a dead-end customer is, whatever a dead-end client is. And here's what I'm going to tell you all. Some successful transactions are done with dead-end clients or customers. Just because you close the transaction does not mean they are a very good, decent customer or client. Some of the people, remember we talked about, it's cheaper to keep your client, that client retention. Not all of the time. There are no definitives. There are some of us who have people in our CRMs that we need to delete because they are a strain on our energy, on our effort, on our well-being. Let me let some others in. Okay, here's what others, and this is another part of the marketing and the sales piece. And this is why we go so heavy on the social proof. This is why we have to build that authority. This is coming from the viewpoint of the general public, and this is them talking to us. We don't care about you or how hard you worked on whatever it is that you're doing. We want to know if it's for us and if you are the real deal. Buyers and sellers, they don't care how much training you have. They don't care about your education. They don't care about the certifications, designations. They don't care how many times you took the exam, about how much it costs to run your business. They do not care. They want to know, is your service, are you good for them, number one, and then are you legit? So we have to leverage, like, are you the real deal? Quick question. Do you all have testimonials, client testimonials in your businesses right now or not? Hopefully you have some client testimonial. Someone has experienced your thing, your service, buy, sell, whatever it is, and said, hey, you're pretty good. Video, I need testimonials. We need testimonials. That's going to be high, high, high on our list. Next, we need video testimonials. I need to hear, see, watch someone talk about you and your service. And it does not need to be, he was great, she made the transaction easy. No, we need them to, on video, right? Video, video, video. Very important. We need them talking about the transformation they experienced from working with you. We want them speaking in the same tongue that we're going to have others listen in. If we know that buyers and sellers are focused on the transformation, we don't want them to say, hey, working with John was so great. He's a nice guy. We don't want that. We want them talking about the transformation that is coming because of working with John, right? We want them to know. Yeah, you're right. They're absolutely lies. That's why you focus on the transformation, not on your character, your personality, right? So the transformation is going to be, hey, because I worked with him, because she helped me, here's what that picture that we talked about is. The next truth in sales and marketing, some customers, some clients are worth more than others. Some clients are worth more than others. Do you know who your most valuable clients are? They could be someone that's easy to work with. They could do a lot of business. They could refer you. Maybe your most valuable customer or client is someone that you've never sold or done business with, but they're just your megaphone to the marketplace. They are just your biggest cheerleader out there. You have to know who your most valuable client is, and then you must reward them. You must take care and protect your most valuable client or customer. Many of us have an idea. This is why we go back to that tracking piece that we were talking about when when we mentioned the lead conversion, scripts, tracking, and follow up, right? So you should be knowing. Well, let me ask, are you all tracking where your business is coming from? Or you all, at least we're going to start, right? So we either know where it's coming from or we're going to start tracking. And then as you're tracking, say, well, where did this business come from? Once you know that, reward and protect your best people. Reward and protect your best people. I have. Now, this is a question that was asked, so I made a special note here. And we are not talking about compensation amounts, right? We're not talking about any of that. But here's what we do know. We do know that based on price or cost, there's an expectation that comes along with that, right? So I'm going to encourage you all, after you've built your value proposition, when you've gone in and you've listed your pillars of success and you know what your core values are, and then you've gone through those 5 steps of working with or sales and asking questions and thinking about the client first, all of those, then you want to ask, what do I want said about me and my service or my business behind my back? What do I want said when one potential client is talking to a past client? And here's what is going to dictate what is said more than anything else: your professional fee. Your professional fee is going to dictate what's said about you and in what rooms you are talked about. I'm going to say it this way so I don't get a pow pow from anyone. If you want to be spoken about in affluent and successful, high achieving circles, you need to price yourself accordingly. Okay? Walmart and Neiman Marcus are not talked about in the same rooms. Okay? So you have to determine, what does my price say about my service? And here's the hard thing, ladies and gentlemen. Does your service justify and validate your price or your cost? So you can put a cost up here, but if you have lackluster, subpar service, you're going to be talked about, but not in the way that we want. So here's the hope. Here's the ask. We want to have our prices up here, right? But we want our service up here. So everything And I want you all thinking about yourself as a buyer. And when I say a buyer, just a consumer, someone who's going to spend resources for anything, even if it's time. Why do we buy? Right? Why do we buy a product or a service? We buy anything. We part with our hard earned resources for one reason and one reason only. We part with our money because we believe the thing that we're paying for is worth more than the money or the time that we're giving, right? Your job is to be worth more than any amount of compensation you're paid. If you are not in a position, remember, it's not going to be the product or the service, it's going to be the sales and the marketing. Inside of sales and marketing, it's going to be the packaging. 100% transparency with you all as family. I get to charge more because I'm packaged in a bow tie and a suit. Do you all see what I'm saying? That's part of my sales and marketing. I get to charge more simply because the perceived value. I know I'm going to deliver here, but I still charge right here, right? And so I'll charge here. And why? Because then I'm going to come in and say, I have a 7x guarantee. If I'm working with sellers, I'm going to say, if you position here, I can almost guarantee X amount of showings, offers in a certain percentage of time. If not, we will reduce compensation X amount, right? Why? Because I'm letting them know I believe in the service. And so price is a signal. What signal is your price giving? Is your signal saying, hey, we're the fastest, we're not the best, but we'll get the job done? Or is your price saying, hey, you come over here, we're professionals over here, we're going to deliver things a little bit differently? I am going to make this statement that my very first team leader told me. And so he said this, and I wrote this down here in my journal 21 years ago. He says, cheap is another way to say scared. Cheap is another way to say scared. So if you are scared of rejection, if you're scared to be turned down, we just what? How do like it's a race to the bottom, right? So as we're thinking about our sales and marketing process, is our process built in such a way that we have to give it the lowest price cheap? Or can we say, I believe in this thing, I'm a premium product, and it goes back to our elite client profile. It goes back to our elite client attractor. Do we know who they are? Do we know the problem that they have? Do we know and can we articulate the payoff that's going to be for them? If we can, then we are in a fantastic place. And here's something that I want to share quickly. Do you have people's permission to work with them? Do you have their permission to get in their inbox? Do you have their permission to text them? And when I say permission, here's what I mean. The simplest definition of permission is the people who would miss you if you didn't reach out. When I say, do you have people's permission? If you didn't reach out, would they say, well, I didn't hear from Sherry. Like, what's going on? Hey, I wonder why I missed Beth, right? Because that is the permission that we want. Permission is that longing. For instance, we're in class 5 days. Here's how I know, for instance, Ed had my permission to pretty much have a run of the class. And here's what I mean. If Ed would not have shown up for class on Thursday, do you all think that I would have noticed if Ed was not there on Thursday? Absolutely, right? I would have been like, hey, I guess somebody caught up with Ed. They probably, the parole board probably, probation officer finally caught Ed, right? And so if you are not reaching out, that means that you have their permission. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you. And see, I pick on Ed still. Ed, it's never going to end, sir. So if you have people that are hoping that you go away, it's better for us to just stop marketing, right? Because marketing is an invitation into my world to offer what you have, and I might purchase it at a later time. Here we go. Talking about marketing and sales. So let's keep going down this path of marketing really quickly. Effective marketers are in charge of the experience that the customers have. And so, with that being said, are you in charge of the experience that your customers have? Or how much are we leaving to the marketplace or to interest rates? I hope that you are not leaving your buyer or seller experience to anything that's outside of our control, right? We should be able to. Why? Because we have those 10 good discovery questions. If you have 10 great discovery questions, regardless of the market, regardless of the economy, you're going to be able to find motivation, and then you will be in control. We know this when we talk about our scripts and dialogues. The person who asks the question is what? In control. So now, by you asking the question, that's going to put you in control. The best way to earn trust is through action. The best way to earn lots of trust is through massive action. And so now my ask is, when was the last time you took massive action in your business? So for some of you, putting your face on camera, massive action. For some of you, it's calling people asking, hey, when you mention me to other buyers or sellers, what do you say? That might be massive action. Maybe it's you pulling that trigger on that advertising or going AI, right? I don't know. But here's what we do know, that when you take massive action, lots of trust is going to come on the other side of it, even if you take the wrong action. We in 2025, we don't care if you take the wrong action as much as you doing something, right? We have to at least see you in the game. Otherwise, you become just like 1.6 million other realtors who are, yeah, you have your license, but I never see you. I don't see you in the game. Let me see what I have. I have one more. There we go. Okay. So actually, there are two. There's two more. So I lied to you accidentally. So a couple of things, two big keys that I have here in my journal. And we mentioned this last time, and I even mentioned this in class, and this is why the visual part is so important, right? Whether it's going to be you being in media sources or you taking the right photos, holding microphones in front of flags. And here's what I wrote down, and I think that this is one of the best, not secrets, but best principles that I've leveraged to build everything that I've built in the past 21 years just in sales. Human beings tell themselves stories. Those stories, as far as each of us is concerned, are completely and totally true, and it's foolish to persuade them otherwise. So, human beings tell themselves stories, and in their head, the story that they tell themselves is 100% true. Do not try to convince someone that the story that they have in their head is false, right? We are going to lose. So, what do we do instead? Instead, we have to figure out, what story are they telling themselves? How do we do that? 10 discovery questions, right? Everyone tells themselves a story. We want to know what that story is. We find that out through our discovery questions, and then we tailor our solution through the lens of, here's the better payoff. This is that transformation that you are seeking that aligns with the story that you're already telling yourselves. So for some of us, you are too busy trying to convince buyers that now is a great time to buy, when they've already made their mind up that it is a horrible time to buy real estate. You've tried to convince sellers to sell, and they have told themselves this is the worst market ever to sell. Guess what? You are wasting your time. Those are dead end prospects. And then here's the last thing that I wanted to share with you all today. What you say isn't nearly as important as what others say about you. What do people say about you? And this is where you have to know what people are saying behind your back. What we say isn't nearly as important as what people say about us. And that works twofold. First, intentionally with testimonials. We want to know what the testimonials are. We want to leverage that, get it on video. Type form is not enough. We do not trust the typed communication anymore. Why? AI, Chat GPT. We're almost to the point where we don't trust visual or even verbal. Why? Voice clone and synthesia and avatar clones, right? But if you want to shorten that time to like, trust, know, find out what people are saying about us and then capture that in some type of video testimonial. The other side of that, so that's part one. The next part is what we say isn't as important as what others say about us. That means that we must know what others are saying about us. And so we have to conduct feedback calls or we have to do quality control calls. Once again, I encourage us to do something like having a third party come in and do survey questionnaires after a certain part of the transaction. And it could be where it's going to be during the buy or sale. It could be if someone cancels or your listing expires. Do a follow-up survey. And here's the beauty. Here's how we're going to do that. You don't have to have a third party. Just create a different email account. So you all saw, I probably have 8 to 12. I know I have 12 email accounts. So I have 4 businesses. Each of those businesses have a number of emails, but one of them is always a QR follow-up email address, right? And so some of them are, and the question at some point throughout the process, I'm just going to have a jot form or a Survey Monkey form go out from that email address. Hey, how did Neal do with this? What was his best feature? Or best quality? What's one word you would use to describe Neal? Right? How could we have made this process easier, better? Would you refer Neal? If you were referring Neal, what would you say? Right? Because now I know what people are saying about me. So I don't have to sit here and say, well, my core values are excellent service, leadership, growth. Those didn't come from me. I had a different 4 at first, then based on the feedback that I was getting from thousands of agents and clients and customers. I said, well, these 4 keep coming up. Let me make those my core pillars. And now let me build all of my businesses and my life around those. And so that's what I wanted to share with you. So first, human beings tell themselves stories, and those stories, as far as they're concerned, are true. Do not try to convince someone that their story is wrong. And then the last one is what you say isn't nearly as important as what others say about you. And so that's going to be vitally important. Um, We've already talked that people don't care about the service that we provide. They care about the transformation and that we must start with the transformation. We must start with the transformation. My last, as Jim Rohn would say, everyone has a problem, a desire, and a narrative. Everyone has a problem, a desire, and a narrative. Everyone has a problem, a desire, and a narrative. Who will seek you out to solve it? Right? Everyone has a problem. Who's going to seek you out to solve it? And so if we can answer that, and ladies and gentlemen, I've shared this a number of times. I know some of you have gone through the Elite Client Attractor Workshop, right? Or the course. It's free. The reason I wanted it to be free is because that's going to help you understand who your elite client is, what the challenges that they have are, and then it's really going to help you say, well, where do I fit into this? That's going to be the beginning part of all of the transformation. Because right now, we want to jump on sales marketing, but if we don't know who we're selling to or who we're marketing to, we're going to be doing a lot of the wrong stuff. So that's what I wanted to share with you all based off of the questions that we have or that we had. I do not see any more text messages coming in. I am going to share with you all. So the question was from 8 of you. You said, Neal, you told us not to buy the premium positioning challenge. You're absolutely correct. Don't buy that. Why? Because we've got to make sure that we've done those first steps first. That's where we're going to go in and do the Canvas Rebel. We're going to go in and make sure that we are virtual assistants. No, I did not share information on virtual assistants. So I am going to put virtual assistant information in that Google Drive because I have an entire thing just on virtual assistants, how to choose a good one, what to look for, what the pricing looks like for a good real estate virtual assistant, how to write a procedures manual for virtual assistant, or do you hire someone that already has a procedure manual, all of that. So all of that is going to be in that Google Drive. Now, here's what's going to happen. You all are going to get one last email from me. One last email. Dino, not you. You and I were going to talk. Okay. So we've got some communication. So one last email from me is going to have the link to this in it. It's going to have the link to that Google Drive where there's a lot of information. I'm adding more stuff to that Google Drive on a probably on a weekly basis. I am going to add the virtual assistant stuff by Thursday of this week. By Thursday of this week, the VA stuff will be in there. And by VA, I mean virtual assistant. I don't mean veteran affairs, just so we're clear. So do not take a premium positioning challenge, anything like that. So 8 of you asked the question. You were like, Neal, what are, let me see. Okay. Neal, do you have some type of coaching? Because I put this coaching fee thing or this coaching and consulting fee in there. So for the mastermind group that I talk about that I have with some of the 29 other top agents in the country, just to let you all know, for me, that's $100,000 a year for me to be in that mastermind group, right? So I have other mastermind group for 6 months. We do 24,000. And so the question was, Neal, I need a coach. Would you coach me? My answer was no. Right? Just off top, my answer was no. And they were like, well, we have executive coaching for 6 months for 40,000, 1 year for 95,000. And I was like, the reason I did that so I could price myself out of real estate agents' price range, just to be clear, right? Because here's why. I know that if I have someone that gets into the coaching program, my promise is 7x. You give me 40, you're getting 280 out, just doing the activities, right? But you've got to do the activities. Return on what? Investment in time, energy. So I scrapped my real estate coaching about 2 years ago. The VIP day, 55,000. If someone wants to spend a day with me for me to come into their business and see how they do in the tweak, it's 55 grand, right? For keynote presentations, 26,000. So 2 of you said, Neal, we would pay the executive coaching fee for 6 months. And I turned both of you down. And so here's what I am going to let you all know. In the email I'm going to send to you all, there is going to be an opportunity for real estate coaching, but it's only 6 months because I don't do year coaching for real estate agents because here's what I know. I know we get shiny bell syndrome, shiny object syndrome, and I will create a plan for 6 months, and 3 months in, you're going to say, nope, I found something better. I'm going over here, right? Or found something different. There's nothing better. Humbly, I say that. 6 months, we'll figure that out. And I'll tell you right now, the total fee, since it's only 6 months of real estate, is going to be $7,500, $1,500 down, $1,200 a month for the next 5 months. And that would be 75 total. So we're guaranteeing a 7x payoff, about $53,000 as a return, right? In 6 months. I'm confident in that. What I really believe is I believe it's going to come back at 10 to 12 return, 12% return, 12 times return, I'm sorry. But you under promise and overproduce, right? So I will show you all in the email. I'll give you all that information there. You all have my contact info. You all know how to get in contact with me. I am going to put, once again, there's going to be a link and it's going to be the biggest font at the bottom of the email to get onto my calendar. Dino, that's where you're going to go in and you're going to schedule some one-on-one time. So go on that calendar and schedule a one-on-one with me for us to get everything caught up when it comes to the investment side of things and some of those very specific questions that you asked me. So you'll see that it's going to be the very last link in the body of the email. So if you all want some of my time, go in there. You'll get, I believe it's somewhere between, some of them are 30, some of them are 45, depending on the day. So you'll be able to get some of my time. Anyone, any questions, comments, concerns, you all still have my email address. You can respond to my email if you have any questions. After this next email that I send to you all, I promised that I would not be spamming you. None of you are in my CRM, just so you all are clear. None of you are on any drip campaign. You all are in my phones. I have you in my phone, but you all are not in any of my CRMs. None of that. Thank you very much, Abeth. So if you all need me, you can still reach me. You all are going to have my Calendly link where you all can reach out to me and ask questions if you want. If you all want to schedule a call, do it through the Calendly. Here's my ask. My ask is within the next 24 hours, please do something with what you've heard today, last week, or from the CIPS class. Okay. I hope I'm wrong. For some of you, this is going to be the last time that we have any interaction, even with me coming into your marketplaces soon. But do something with what you have learned, one thing in the next 24 hours. If you do, I wholeheartedly believe that you will be able to build not only a global real estate empire, but you'll be able to build something that you're proud of, not only in days, weeks, months, and years to come, but I believe it's going to be something that decades later you'll look back and you'll smile at the life and the business that you've built. But there is only a return on investment. If you don't invest time, energy, money, you are not going to get a return. All right. I love you. God loves you. There's nothing else you could do about it. Don't be average, be world renowned. I'll see you all. You all will get emails from me. One email. One. You all are not on my drip campaign. Adios. Love y'all. Bye. Take care.